Hey, Nathan.
Hey, Andy. Nice tie.
Thanks. It's kind of deep blue. What are you working on?
I just finished machining one of our 17-tooth double sprockets.
Nice, nice. This looks a lot like what teams in the first community used to buy from 221 Robotic Systems.
Yep. Unfortunately, they're not making them anymore, so we figured we'd fill the void in the market.
Cool. So how do teams use them? Tell me about what they're doing with these sprockets.
So the main use is putting them in chain and tube drivetrains. So you can see we've got a sample here where you've got a 2" by 1" box tube with 2 ball bearings in it, and the sprocket is in there with the chains on it.
Nice. And I know that we've bought a whole bunch of this material to be ready for the season this year.
Yep.
So I can show my friends over here. Cool. So you're saying teams would use these in the chain and tube?
Yeah. So they'd it's just drive rail, wheel, and all the torque transmission is hidden inside the tube. You never have to worry about it. The 17-tooth size is such that you can use this with any tube up to an 1/8" wall thickness, and it'll prevent the chain from riding off the sprocket because it physically can't leave.
It's stuck.
Yeah. So
it's confined. It's not stuck.
Yeah.
Okay. I get it.
It won't jump off no matter what you do.
Cool.
So these are also 70-75 aluminum, so really strong. I know that's an improvement on the older ones, which would sometimes break some teeth off.
Sure. Neat.
So to put on your drive axle, we've got a number of new wheels here. First, we've got our new HD 8" pneumatic wheel.
Okay.
So this is a solid aluminum core and aluminum plates on either side to hold the tire on. And we made this out of our 4" performance wheel extrusion from last year. That's new. Trying to come up with more uses for this material. And if there's enough demand, we might sell this on its own. If you guys want to do your own cool things with it.
That'd be neat. Yeah. I bet the teams could have a heyday with what they could do with this.
So we've got the performance wheel and now a pneumatic wheel.
So why is this? I know you guys were pushing to have a stronger wheeled hub for the pneumatic wheel. What made you make that decision?
So we haven't seen too many first teams breaking the plastic one, but we do see a lot of our customers who are not in first driving these off-road, outdoors, over rocks and stuff, and they need a more durable hub that'll last for more than one season of first. It'll last for years. And I mean, it is a perfectly good hub for a first robotics team also. If you're driving over anything big and heavy like Stronghold, this would have been a great hub for your robot. Yeah. Wouldn't have to worry about it.
And on this one, they can direct drive.
Yep, so we've got a hex bore version and a bearing bore version over there. The hub is the only difference in the 2 kits we're going to be selling. Everything else will be the same. You just pick whether you want a live axle or dead axle.
So this one would take 2 flanged 1/2" bearings, or even 3/8 bearings, I suppose. But they both have to be flanged the way you designed this. There's no shoulder in the middle.
Yep.
Okay, that's cool. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
And then this flange goes on either side, you said?
Yeah, so that's a pretty simple stamp part that just screws on with 6 bolts, and that retains the tire from expanding out this way too much.
So you put the tire of the tube on, and then put one flange and another flange on, screw it together, and you're done.
That's it.
Sweet. All right.
So on the same extrusion wheel theme, we've got our new hex bore, and we have a bearing bore version of the 6" performance wheel. And these will now be made out of extrusion just like the 4" one. We did that last year and really liked it. It cut down on our machining costs because we didn't have to mill this whole pocket out, which means we can lower the price to you.
I know that with both of these wheels, we saw the cost go up and up and up every year, it seems like. 'Cause it's a lot of machining, and you got a lot of aluminum with that big billet. And so we're buying the extrusion. That saves the machining time of the gross pockets and those kinds of things, but it drives our costs down. So hopefully we can make a product. So we can definitely make a product that's cheaper for our customers to buy.
The other cool thing we can do in extrusion is, because this used to be milled out of a 1" plate, it would be much more expensive to put any features that were more than 1 inch. Now we've got a little spacer built into the back, the same as we do for the pneumatic wheels. And that's much cheaper to do now that this comes in 12-foot sticks instead of 1-inch sheets.
Nice. I see we've got a new alternative
Yeah.
bore for the macadam wheel.
Speaking of hex bores and West Coast drives, we've got our 1/2-inch hex version of the 4-inch HD macadam wheel. So we used to have a big bearing bore. You could bolt a hub to it, but that was heavier and more expensive because you had to buy the hub and the wheel. Now, with this plastic hex bore, you can cantilever the wheel and just put your hex axle through it and you're done.
And that could also be an intake wheel. Some
Yeah,
teams have used
the,
that heavy-duty intake wheel.
Heavy-duty vectored intake wheel. There you go.
Very awesome. So I see you've got some high grips and some smooth wheels down here.
Yeah. So these you'll recognize as one of our oldest products, AM0144. It's a 3-digit part
that's
number.
right.
So we've had these for over a decade now, but we've improved the core along with the core of the high grip wheel by adding more plastic in the spoke area. So we've got a really thick cross section here so that it'll crack less. We've had a few complaints about that at the championship.
Yeah. So I remember we started working on that early this summer after hearing, and that's really surprising, but we do hear complaints about that wheel and some spokes breaking at Houston and Detroit, even at IRI. And over the years, this wheel's gone through a lot of different development. I remember when we started on this core, I think this was from 2008, at least the core was, and it was a pretty thin spoke. And then we had a pretty weak bore here around the bearing. And then we added another rib around the bearing, and maybe a few years later, maybe 2011 or 12. And then we also increased the height and the width of the spoke. And then with more torque and more speed and inertia and more wattage on these robots, I think we're just seeing a lot more impact on these wheels. And so
we've got about double the power on the drivetrains now.
Yeah. And so that puts these wheels to the test. And so we've had to add width to the spoke on this one. I know when we talked about this improvement this summer, we thought about even making all these holes go away, to have a flat core instead of having holes in the middle. And it was you that convinced us not to do that.
You really can't. You've got to, when you assemble the tough box, you've got to put a wrench through one of the spokes. So it's also a really iconic wheel in first and for AndyMark, so we didn't want to lose the imagery of that.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, so we're also expanding what we're now calling the smooth grip line of wheels into the 80A durometer, the 60A durometer, and the 50A durometer. These are really great on smooth surfaces like plastic because they give much more surface area to grip, but they also last longer than the high grip wheel because they've got double the amount of tread on them that takes longer to wear down.
Just more surface area for less wear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. You mentioned these are good for plastic. Why do I care about plastic?
3 out of the last 4 years I've had plastic on the field that you had to drive over. So a wheel like this is really advantageous for almost any year.
Cool. And we've got the mold, we've got the material, we've got the colorant.
Mm-hmm.
We might as well just do it.
Yeah,
so
it offers more options for our customers. So
these wheels are great, but what's going on? Why do you have all these things out here?
So these are all our new wheels, and we're trying to decide what to put on our new robot. So I think we've decided with the HD pneumatic wheels there,
Okay.
it's going to be doing some nice jumps, and we want it to bounce on the landing.
Nice. What about other stuff on the robot?
Liz is working on the gearboxes over there in the assembly area.
Okay.
You can go check that out.
I'll do that. Thanks.
Bye.